Aloha and welcome to our Hawaii Island Chamber of Commerce virtual installation of officers and directors and wine tasting. My name is Miles Yoshioka, and it's great to see all of you. And pretty soon, if all goes well, we'll get to see each other in person. Meanwhile, for tonight, we'd love if you could leave your videos on so we can see your happy faces out there. It's no fun talking to a bunch of names. Although we know almost everybody out there, we'd love to see your faces. We have some special guests joining us tonight. First off, my Kona sister, Kona Kohala Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, Wendy Laros. Give a wave, Wendy. Senator Lorraine Inoue. Hi, Senator. Ross Birch, immediate past president of the Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Hawaii. Ross, there he is. And joining us here live from the Chamber office, Newton Chu, HICC president from the year 2000, and he'll be tonight's installing officer. Besides Newton, we have some other past chamber presidents who are here and continue to wave the HICC flag. And I see some of you out there. We have Art Taniguchi, 2004. Hey, Art. Mary Bajir, 2009. John Miata, 2011. Chuck Erskine, 2014. Kaiu Kimura, 2015. And hoping he joins us, so he'll be able to, Gordon Takaki, 2018. Thank you all for your continued support of our chamber. We couldn't be here, without you folks. How about a big hand for all of them? Thank you. I was a little slow on that cue. Okay, back by popular demand, returning to HICC after a after two nearly sold out performances at our previous wine and whiskey tasting events. We have Ryan Kadota joining us from Kadota Liquor, and he'll be conducting our wine tastings. Chef Dean Shigeoka and his mom Audrey Wilson of AJ & Sons Catering and White Guava Cafe searched far and wide to be able to assemble the variety of goodies that you have in front of you on your platters. From house-cured pastrami and porchetta to an assortment of cheeses, Chef Dean will walk us through the options he prepared for us tonight. You folks all know putting on virtual events is much more than clicking on the Zoom icon. We're really fortunate to have Jace Takea of Eclipse Effect Events here with us, providing his AV talents for tonight's broadcast. Mahalo, Jace. And she told me not to do this, but did you folks check out your desserts yet? And I know some of you probably attacked yours already. Good, huh? Okay, they were prepared by our own tailor and her mom, Sue Escalona. So enjoy. Okay, I know we're all anxious to get to the grinds and the wine, so I'd like to call on Chef Dean to share about his impressive plate. Chef Dean?
Oh, hello. Hi. So we made our boards, our charcuterie boards with our house-made pastrami. We couldn't find any porchetta in time, so we didn't do that, but we did basically this assortment for everybody to try with some of the things that we're going to be doing at White Guava Cafe. And yeah, that's about it.
Mahalo, Dean. The platter is impressive, and I kind of expected maybe a paper plate with stuff, but Chef Dean offered everything up on a eucalyptus platter, a hardwood platter, and provided all the utensils for it too. So thank you very much for putting it together for us. We had asked Ryan Kadota to put together an assortment of red and white wines for tonight's tasting and pairing. Ryan selected a pair from the West Coast and an Italian Chianti. And Ryan we'll have time for Q&A after each tasting. So take it away, Ryan. Show us your stuff.
Hey, everybody. Just a shout out to Miles and the team for putting this all together. Like he said, it's not easy to coordinate everything. And to Chef Dean and Audrey, Auntie Audrey, for putting together such an amazing board and spread. When I picked it up, I was my back hurt a little bit from carrying it, the sheer weight of the amount of food. But thank you for inviting me back to this event. I love doing the events with you guys. They always seem to be popular, that we can see each other at least on the computer and have a drink or two. So let's start with the white. Those of you who opted for the red and the white option. So the first wine I'd like to try is the Chardonnay. It's a Substance Chardonnay. As you can see, they went for kind of like a chemistry, periodical table look with the CH. It's made by a winemaker named Charles Smith from Washington. He's kind of like a cult winemaker up there. He gained notoriety back in the 90s, selling wine out of his Ford Aerostar van. He gained notoriety by making 100-point wines up there in Washington. But as his popularity grew and as the wines became more expensive, he wanted to make a line of wines that were affordable. So this Substance wines, they start off with a Cabernet, which is obviously one of our favorites. It's a CS. They've got 90 points, I think, every year that they've been out. And then they wanted to expand that. So now they have a Merlot, a Chardonnay, and a Sauvignon Blanc. But the Chardonnay has been out for a couple years, and both vintages have received 93 points from James Suckling. They're all from Columbia Valley fruit. And if you take a whiff, you get like really nice orchard fruit, apple, but just fruitiness with a hint of vanilla. There is oak aging to it, barrel fermentation, and with natural yeast. And it tastes delicious. You get those apple, those pear notes with those little bit of vanilla from the oak. You would think that you might mistake this for something from California and for something that might be a little bit more expensive. But like they said, their goal was to make a wine that was affordable, that you could drink every day, that tasted delicious. And I hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed this with the Parmesan crisp that were with the crackers and actually the mozzarella as well. But you can't go wrong. And then there were some figs in there that was really good too. So, try a little bite with the wine and enjoy. I'm gonna have a little bit more myself right now.
Anyone have any questions for Ryan? Feel free to speak up.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm drinking
But
mine.
we're
I'm
already
eating mine with
enjoying
red.
it. We're already enjoying it, Miles.
Good, I know.
So I don't know if we're supposed to indulge in it, but I see Art and I are drinking something, so we couldn't wait.
Mine's going with the red already.
Yeah.
Me too.
We're jumping ahead.
Yep, I have the red open.
Tastes good though.
Thanks, Ryan.
I logged on early too, so I had to it was hot today, so I had to drink something cool and refreshing.
Oh gosh, we love you guys. It is a free for all tonight. We wanted to do something different, memorable. So I'm hoping you guys are going to remember tonight. Okay, mahalo, Ryan. Thank you. And we'll get to our two other reds tonight with Ryan. President Toby Taniguchi could not have started his term under more challenging circumstances. With 7 KTA stores and I believe more than 700 employees to worry about, especially during this pandemic, he graciously accepted the additional responsibility of leading our organization, representing 315 member businesses and nonprofit organizations and professionals. And lead he did. He was a role model. He inspired us. He empowered us. A lot can be said about a man who, when those around him ask themselves, WWTD, what would Toby do? Please welcome our president, Toby Taniguchi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miles. Thank you, Ryan. It's fun to watch you talk about wine. You're so knowledgeable, our local sommelier. Thank you for making time to spend with us. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for making time or taking time from your busy schedules to be with us here this evening. I guess the first thing I'd like to do is actually officially call our general membership meeting to order, because we do have to take care of some business. And our primary goal this evening is to really recognize and thank our directors who have served the chamber this past year. And of course, a little later on in our program, to install the individuals who have accepted the kuleana of leading the chamber forward beginning tomorrow, July 1st. So while I had mentioned to Miles a little earlier this week that no one would ever complain of me giving too short of a speech, I would be remiss if I didn't take a little time this evening to properly thank the many individuals who have helped me, who has guided me, who has supported me along this incredible journey as chamber president this past year. To say the last year and a half has been challenging would, of course, be an understatement. We have all been through so much these past 16 months, and we've all had to learn, and we've all had to adjust to new ways of doing things. But as I noted in my March newsletter article, there is light ahead at the end of this pandemic tunnel. And I know that together we can all follow it and get there together. And under the leadership of our incoming president, Mr. David Bach, we will continue to stay strong and continue to lift one another up and to build our businesses and our community, and so that we can all get back to serving our communities and visitors alike. Of course, making Hawaii Island the best possible place. So at this time, I'd like to personally take this opportunity to thank and recognize all of our volunteer board of directors. You have all contributed so much to the governance and sustainability of the chamber this past year, and I owe you a huge debt of gratitude. To our officers, past President Ria Lee Moku, David Bach, Doug Simons, Laura Sonoda. As officers of this organization, you have provided me so much guidance and support over the past year, and I would not have been able to make it through without your wise counsel. So thank you so much, you guys. To our committee members and committee chairs, I'd like to thank you, Kim Pua and Kampai Comstock in our membership committee, Lynn Nunez in our social committee, Keith Marek of our military affairs committee, John Miata, who orchestrated our administrative professional day, Newton Chu and Senator Richard Henderson for our president's golf event, and of course, Dennis Lin and Crystal De Los Santos for our young professionals group. You have all worked tirelessly and purposefully in keeping the chamber relevant and keeping activities coming forth for our community and our membership. And I owe, again, all of you a big thank you for that. And of course, I'd like to offer a sincere mahalo nui loa to our HICC team of Miles Yoshioka and Taylor Escalona. You two have been an amazing tag team duo who have helped provide stability for our va'a, for our canoe, for our organization as we transverse some pretty rough seas. You've worked dutifully. You have in keeping our chamber moving forward and providing both leadership and support for our board of directors and our over 700 members. So you guys, thank you so much for all that you guys do or have done and continue to do. And last but not least, I do also want to recognize and thank the directors who have reached their term limits and will be leaving the board this evening. This group of individuals have been staunch supporters of the chamber and its activities for years, and their leadership and collective contributions for the chamber has been incredible. The chamber would certainly not be where it is today without your support. The outgoing directors this evening, and some of them which are on the video or on our virtual meeting this evening, is Lincoln Ashida from Torkelson Katz, Hetherington, Harris, and Kenorick. Mr. Jason Fujimoto from HPM Building Supply, Amy Honda from Bank of Hawaii, Joe Marsh from Insurance Services Hawaii, Jonathan Paeo from HouseMart, Kimberly Pua from Wesley R. Segawa and Associates, and last but not least, Mr. Gordon Takaki, our retired individual member. So at this point, I'm just want to go off the script just a little bit before closing and just share with you a few things is that, thank you so much for affording me the opportunity to be a part of this very noble organization. Thank you for affording me your trust in this 123-year-old organization. And I hope I was able to live up to your expectations. You have all provided me so much support in the chamber, so much support. You have provided for me wisdom, knowledge, and guidance. I'm looking across the screen here, and I see one of my mentors, Newton Chu, here. And I sincerely want to thank all of you, David, Miles, Newton, everyone here, for everything that you have afforded me and given me the opportunity to be a part of this incredible and this special organizations. I've made many friends along the way. I know it wasn't a normal year where we couldn't get together, but I think we all made the most of it. And so I appreciate you all. As the Japanese like to say, okage-sama de. I am what I am because of you. And I sincerely, therefore, have to thank all of you for everything that you've done. So having performed then what may be very well one of the last duties as president and having no other business to cover on this evening's agenda, I want to declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you for your extremely kind words, Toby. Man, he's a tough act to follow. As you look around the room on your screens, check out those that have orchid lei on. Those in the audience with the orchid lei are our current and outgoing directors and officers. Okay, but we'll be introducing everybody later on. Okay, I'd like to bring Ryan back to do his next tasting. Ryan?
Again, a tough act to follow. You never want to follow Toby. He's such an eloquent speaker. But thank you for the shout out too, buddy. I appreciate that. So the next wine, let's go to the Italian. I know some of you opted for the 2 red wine. I don't blame you. I love a nice red wine. So I want to do a little contrast. We went with a Chianti Classico. Chianti is a beautiful wine. It's easy to pair with all different kinds of food. It pairs with Asian food, obviously with Italian food, but you could also do it with burgers, steaks, barbecue. It's really flexible. The main grape that goes into Chianti is Sangiovese. It is grown in the region of Tuscany. The main city in Tuscany, I believe, is Florence. So if you've ever been to that city, that's the region of Tuscany. There are other wines that grow in Tuscany. It's a large region, but Chianti is the main wine that we know from that area. San Felice is special in the sense that over time, Chiantis, they've been incorporating new rules in their wines. They've been adding New World grapes. They've allowing some New World grapes into their blends. It used to be only indigenous grapes. But now you can add a little bit of Cabernet, I think, maybe even a little bit of Merlot. So obviously they're changing with the times, trying to make new, become more worldly or, find new markets. But San Felice, they're only using native varietals. So in this one, it is mostly Sangiovese with a little bit of Colorino and Puglianello, if you see on the back. Small amounts, but it is a blend, but the main grape is Sangiovese. What I love about this wine is it's very aromatic, with a little bit of that Italian dust, that if you like Italian wine, it's got a little bit of rusticness, that makes it really beautiful with food. Great balance. Nice fruit, like, tart cherries, maybe Suriname cherry, a little bit of berry, but you got great acidity that cleanses your palate, especially when you're having like things with tomato sauces or barbecue sauce or meats. This is perfect wine for the charcuterie board. It goes from the goat cheese to the mozzarella to, I'm looking at with the salami. It was delicious. It was almost like a perfect pairing. I'm looking that there's like, I believe the pastrami, that was amazing with this wine. So Chianti, very versatile. And the beauty about if you have the 2016, which we distributed, that was a Wine Spectator top 100 wine a few years back. So, something that's for the price point was very well recognized. So I hope you enjoy this wine as well. Any questions? I see Art's enjoying it. Senator's enjoying the wine. Thank you. Any comments, Chef? Dean, no? Thumbs up? Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Oh, well, it looks like everybody's enjoying the wine so much that no more time to talk, Ryan.
I think, yeah, they're eating and drinking, so that's the best comment I think we can have, right? Is no comment.
That's so true. That's so true.
Right.
Well, mahalo, Ryan.
Thank you.
Looking back on this past year, I think all of us were wondering, how'd we make it through? Chamber had to do a lot of adapting, but we made it thanks to all of your help. Chamber volunteer Jenny Kamimura produced this video for us that we're going to show you in a few minutes. Jenny will be entering her second year at Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, and she's studying communication and civic engagement. We've been extremely, extremely fortunate to get Jenny's help, not only with producing videos, flyers. She's come through for us in so many ways, and we're really going to miss her when she moves up to Tacoma. So here's the video that Jenny made for us. Enjoy.
You need some love and care, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. You got a friend. If the sky above you grows dark and full of clouds, and the north wind begins to blow, keep your head together. Call my name out loud now. Soon you'll hear me knocking at your door. got a friend. Yes, you do. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain. We all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Yeah, ain't it good to know you got a friend? People can be so cold. They'll hurt you, yes, and deserve you, and take your soul if you let them. Oh yeah, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. See you again. Oh yes, don't you know that winter, spring, summer or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. You got a friend. You've got a friend. Lean on me. Ain't it good to know you got a friend? When you're not strong, ain't it good to know you got a friend? I'll be there. Oh yes, I will. You got a friend.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh yeah. Ooh, you can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
Wonderful video. Looking through that, man, we was busy. There was a lot of stuff going on. It's always neat to look back, and thank you, Jenny, for putting that video together. Next, I'd like to introduce you to our 2021-22 officers and directors being installed tonight. We have quite a few of our directors online with us, so if you don't mind, when I call your names, give us a big wave so everybody knows who you are. Okay, so with us in here, our executive committee, we have David Bach, soon to be president, Doug Simons, president-elect and GAC chair. Doug? Oh, there's Doug. Randy Kurohara, our vice president and economic development committee chair. There's Randy. Laura Sonoda, Treasurer and Finance Committee Chair. And of course, Toby Taniguchi, our soon-to-be immediate past president. Our two-year directors joining us tonight, we have Kehao Amarin, Kapai Comstock. Hi, Kapai. She's shy. Marissa Harmon. There's Marissa. Lynn Nunez. There. Kevin Walton. Ashley Yamamoto, new to the board. And joining them as two-year directors, we have Tyler Dickinson, Ria Lee Moku, who's in Vegas, by the way, and James Tyron. Our one-year directors joining us tonight, we have Nathan Colgrove. I know Nathan's, oh, there's Nathan. Peggy Farias. Dean Fouquet, Keith Merrick, Lisa Shiroma, Rachel Solemsas, hi Rachel, and Lauren Tsugawa. Joining the one-year director team, we also have Emmeline DePillis, Warren Lee, Stuart Miller, Kurt Williams, and Garth Yamanaka. How about a big hand for all of them? Perfect timing. I knew I had it. Let's see, next I'd like to call up our installing officer, Newton Chu.
Hey, everybody. Good to see all of you out there. Thank you, Miles, for inviting me to help you install the new officers and directors of the Chamber of Commerce for the year 2021-22. You know, as a past president of the Chamber, it's been quite an honor to be affiliated with this group. Many of you out there have done so many wonderful things in this community, trying to keep our economy alive and vibrant. Tonight, we get to install, and I don't know the number, David, of what number president you are. Miles, do you have that information? What number president he is? I remember 124. He's old. I remember in the day when I was installed as a president. I'm going to bring you back to some memories here, but Kilo Hana. A 360-degree view of all Hilo Bay, and Carol Van Camp preceded me. It was the millennium, right? Y2K is all about Y2K, and we used to have this. We used to invite some prominent person to be the guest speaker, and I remember Alan Nicol of Big Island Candies helped me, and we invited Coach June Jones of University of Hawaii, who was off to a phenomenal start and leading UH to, greater heights in those days. And he gave a very inspirational speech that I'll never forget about leadership and what it takes to do your duty to your community by serving in these volunteer roles. So I'll never forget that. And I know that, we had the experience of Toby leading us during the pandemic, and like many others before him, his father was a mentor to all of us. So the role of president of the Chamber of Commerce is a very, very special honor. And today it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next president of this chamber. And to give you a little bit of background, David Bach, he's the editor-in-chief of the Hawaii Tribune Herald, and also of the West Hawaii Today. And the importance of a free press is so instrumental to our democracy. As the Washington Post says, democracy dies in the darkness. So David's role as the publisher and editor of the newspaper is to get us the truth, get us the information that we need to operate under, without filters, without an orchestrated press release from the government, from the state, from whoever. He has to send his people out there and get to the bottom of things and write it up as they see it, independent of what whoever wants you to hear. So it's a really important job that David does, and it's a great service he does to our community. And so the chamber has been blessed with the opportunity to have several editors of our local paper serve as the president. I know Jim Wilson was, and others before him. But in the history of East Hawaii, we have a long history of being we are an island. We're an island community. We're far from Oahu, in the center of our state government, but yet our economy and our community has thrived throughout the years. And part of that, a large part of that, has been helped along and nurtured by the work of the people of the Chamber of Commerce. So, it's really quite an honor to be president. And I know that we've got a really good one coming up with David Bach. Let me give you a little bit about his past. And, David likes to kid me and say, you always like to take shots at people whenever you have the mic, but I will spare you a little bit today, David. I just will say that he is a graduate of Cal State University San Luis Obispo with a degree in journalism. Prior to moving to Hilo, he lived in California and worked with several prominent newspapers and magazines, and he brings that experience to us here in Hilo. So we're really fortunate to have a person such as David with us. His hobbies include traveling, hiking, high altitude backpacking, and playing with the Muppets, whatever that is. Now I have a little quiz for all of you out there. I would like you to think about, after you hear David give his little speech, which I told him I'm going to limit him to 45 minutes. All right, 45 minutes, David. But we're going to try to guess what his favorite movie is, what his favorite TV show is, his favorite type of music, and his current favorite rock band is. All right. So throughout his speech, he will give you hints of the things that he likes okay, interspersed in his speech. He's going to talk about some of the things he likes. And from that, you should be able to determine what his favorite movie is, what his favorite TV shows are, his favorite type of music, and of course, his favorite band. All right. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you your next president of the Hawaii Island Chamber of Commerce, David Bach.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Newton just set me up because none of that stuff's going to be in my presentation here. So thanks, Newton. He did ask me to provide that information, so I'll cut to the chase and just tell you the answers right now. Hide the prop, Toby. Sorry, a malfunction right away. My favorite movie, Pulp Fiction. No need to hide clues in my comments. My favorite type of music is jazz. Can't go wrong with jazz. And if I had to pick a rock band, it's The National. I don't know what any of this has to do with why we're here, but I indulged you and I appreciate it. I am here because of this man, Newton Chu. Actually, he's kind of responsible for me taking on this role as the next Chamber of Commerce president. So I owe him for that one. Made you come here to do this for me. That story is kind of funny. I learned only recently, and I've been working with the Chamber of Commerce now for a number of years. I learned only recently that there's an official sort of a nomination committee. Is that what we're calling it? Nomination committee? And I'll explain how that came down when I was chosen. This is the official process, apparently. I'm at my office one day at the Trib, and I get an email from Toby's father, the late, great Barry Taniguchi. And usually Barry, when he wanted something, he would just call me and we'd talk story about the paper. He'd ask questions. I'd give him answers. He would ask for things. Inevitably, the answer was always, yes, sir. But when he sent me this email, he didn't explain what he wanted in this particular case. So I said, yeah, let's have a meeting. So I'm sitting there and Barry shows up with Newton Chu. And I'm thinking, what is this about? Like, is this going to be a shakedown of some kind? Am I in trouble, like double secret probation trouble? Because when they show up without a reason per se, you got to be a little suspicious. And I'm staring right at Newton, by the way, not the camera. So forgive me. But so Barry says to me, David, I'd like you to do something, or Dave, actually. And I can hear, we can all hear that. I called it the baritone, right? That voice, that distinctive voice. So he says, Dave, I want you to be the next Chamber of Commerce president. And in my head, I'm thinking, no. My mouth, though, says, yes, sir, just like his head had always said when Barry asked for something. So, but the punchline to all this is what we've already touched on tonight, that I didn't know at the time when I accepted that I'd be following his son. And these are big shoes to fill. So Toby, appreciate what you've done again. And Newton, again, thank you for getting me into this. So there's the story about how I got into this role, and I'm very honored. I was asked to talk about two things during my speech here, and it's not going to be very long, and a lot of it's off script, so I apologize. It is weird to look at a camera and a big screen behind me and then stare at these guys who are back here. It's super weird. COVID is super weird, but we all know, right? So I'm going to talk about two things, primarily a little bit about myself, the first part, how I got here. And again, we just talked about how I came into this role, but how did I get to Hilo? Everybody who comes here and is not born and raised here has a story. And one of the people who's responsible for me being here is actually with us today, a man I truly love, a friend, family, Jim Wilson, boss. Can you give me a wave? I see you over there with Dean. I love you, Jim. So Jim is responsible for me coming here. And this came down sort of like this. I was working in Ontario, California, doing newspaper work and magazines. And the editor there at the time taps me on the shoulder and says, we'd like to talk to you. We'd like you to talk to this guy, Jim Wilson. He was a publisher. He's a publisher at the time of the Hilo paper. And I said, oh yeah, let's talk. And I meet him in the break room. And he basically, after about a 5-minute conversation, offers me a job to go to Hilo. He says, you want to go to Hilo? And I said, where is Hilo? At the time, I didn't know. I'd been to Hawaii as a tourist and had traveled around a little bit, but didn't know where this lovely, spectacular place was located. So I kind of looked at him, talked about it a little bit more. And I said, okay, what's the commitment? He said, give me 2 years. If you give me 2 years, you can go back if you want. If you don't like it, you can transfer and return to the paper there or wherever else. And so I said, okay, let's do it. I'll come for 2 years. We'll fix up the Tribune Herald, do what we can, and then figure it out. Long story short, I mean, I've been in this town for 25 years. I'm so passionate about it. And I think part of the passion is two things. It's, as Newton touched on, the journalism we can do here in Hilo, it's really important. I mean, this paper, say what you want about all the other media now that's available to you, but it is kind of the glue that keeps this town together, I believe. We try to do it the right way. The news isn't always pleasant. That's hard for me. There's a story today about I don't want to get too much into politics, but a former politician. We have to tell those stories, but they're sort of painful on one hand as well, because I care about this place. And when I read that stuff in my own newspaper, I feel bad about our town. But we got to do that stuff. We got to do the stuff that is unpleasant. Someone has to tell some of these stories. Knowledge is power. And so we try to do things that empower people to make decisions in their lives. That's the goal. The other goal is, as the editor, I've been able to kind of do everything I can to support the community. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of free publicity and advertising the paper has given over the decades to our nonprofits, for instance. I mean, it's millions of dollars worth of free press and ads. We try to do stories that help when things are going wrong. I mean, a story about a sick keiki who needs a procedure, for instance. We don't do a lot of those, but man, when you do one of those for your community, the response is tremendous. This place just lifts up and people find solutions. It's magical, honestly. So that for me is the power of journalism in this town. Again, I had told Jim 2 years, 2 years became 4 years, 4 years became 6 years. Now it's 20 something, 26 years. And I love this place. I'm so passionate about this place. So that's a little bit about my background, how I got here and what has kept me here, this beautiful, magical town. And these people on the screen, some of them very dear to me, very, very dear. One story quick about Jim. Nothing embarrassing, Jim, because I want to go back to this. Part of what kept me here is Jim's graciousness when I first arrived. Jim would always have us over at the house. I came here alone. I didn't bring a family. Jim would have these amazing, and Audrey, we all know Audrey. They would have these amazing parties back in the day. I mean, these open houses. Were you guys ever go to this? Jim would have these open houses, and like there'd be 100 or 150 people who would blow through this open house over the course of a day. Audrey cooked like 10, 15 dishes, like all just impeccable, like fantastic food. We all know how spectacular she is at that. So I got to learn a lot about Hilo from those open houses. The VIPs, the who's who, they would be at these parties. So that was very helpful. The other thing that those parties achieved, the other group of people who would be there at these open houses would be what I think Jim called the orphans. They were the people who were here, but didn't have the attachments, didn't have the families, and they welcomed all. So it was amazing. So Jim, thank you again. Had I not been a part of all that and learned about this town that way, I'm not sure we'd be on 26 years now. So, yeah, so thank you. I'm going to talk a little bit about goals. I was asked to discuss that a little bit. I think the idea of introducing a goal at this point, beyond the obvious one, the elephant in the room, which is COVID, it would be silly. I think my goal for the chamber in the next year is the same thing we've been doing under COVID in the past year that Toby had to endure, that Miles has done such a great job figuring out. So my goal is SAME, S-A-M-E. Again, I think it'd be foolish to introduce something that doesn't deal with COVID directly and help this community get past the pandemic and into the new economy, whatever that's going to be. Really critical. And we can do that in the ways by doing the things that we've been doing all along, helping members connect with each other, lobby for the right kind of legislation and laws, support projects that we've been supporting all along. I mean, I think it's so critical that remains our focus. We've done a great job of that, and I think that has to remain our focus. And if you think about the disruption, I didn't think that in June of 2021, we would still be facing really amazing disruption from COVID. I mean, almost shocking. I put together a little list just before I finished my notes, I guess. And you think about how many things are disrupted in ways that I don't think we could have imagined that they'd be this disrupted. I mean, if you've tried to buy a car, you know that our auto dealers don't have any inventory. You could go to Big Island Toyota right now. I don't recommend you do this. You could throw a rock across their parking lot and not hit a new car. I mean, there's just no inventory, right? Weird impact. So some of this stuff is lingering and will continue to linger and put a burden on our economy. Used cars, because there's no new cars, that's put pressure on used car sales and prices. Again, unforeseen. I don't know that we expected this to be a problem. Rental cars, you can't get a rental car on the Big Island. One of my employees, his car broke down. He tried to get a rental. No, still no inventory. It's weird. I mean, did we see all of this coming? Building material costs through the roof, and you can't find stuff you need. I got a few more. I won't bore you with too many, but unemployment still close to 10%. And the irony, we can't find workers for some of our restaurants, some of our retail outlets. I mean, it's just incredible. I wouldn't have seen that coming. 6 months after the first shots went in arms, we're not even at 60% fully vaccinated. Didn't see that coming. Again, all of this will have a burden going forward into the next year, and maybe way beyond that. I don't know that anybody has the answer. A couple more quick ones. No cruise ship still, right? Big impact. Maybe at the end of the year, we reported that they were starting to schedule things for November. Now we're hearing maybe not. So another unforeseen, I don't think we saw that coming, that there would be no cruise ships for this long. And of course, we're about to face probably a wave of evictions, right? This is going to have an impact on our community as the moratoriums are lifted. So it's just going to have a long impact. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but my point is, let's stay the course. Like, we have a good mission. We have a great team. This organization is stupendous. It's just full of unbelievably talented people. When you're inside looking out, especially, you realize that the level of talent, commitment, dedication, it's special. It really is special. So again, I'm honored. So again, I want to thank, I want to just thank Toby again. Watching you handle this, it was inspirational. I mean, just staring at the screen again, it just makes me crazy. But you were just terrific, and you had the brunt of it. I mean, Ria had some of it before you. COVID, that's kind of when it began. But to do this for a year under these conditions, I mean, spectacular. Really, truly an honor. Again, tough to follow you, so I don't appreciate that part. But I'm again happy to proceed with what we have. That's great. So again, thanks, Toby. Thank you to the outgoing officers and directors. Thank you, Taylor and Miles, of course. We're going to do great things. We're going to keep charging the way we charge. So we'll do same, but we're going to do everything we can. That concludes my comments. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, the candle, I like the applause. Oh, is that what we do?
Thank you, David. What did I tell you? The next leader of your Chamber of Commerce. And all of you out there in Zoom land know that it takes all of us working together to make our community thrive and strive and just continue on. So faced with this pandemic, faced with all the doom and gloom that David told us about, we're going to get through this together. And it's nice to know that we have the people behind us, the leadership of David, the board members. I need all of you, if you could, all of you, why don't you guys come up with me here? David and Toby, who are here, and we're gonna install you guys, install you, David, uninstall Toby, install all you new officers and directors of the Chamber of Commerce. So if you bear with me, we're going to go through this installation ceremony in this virtual environment. Okay, so I need you to raise your right hand. Okay, And as a director of the Hawaii Island Chamber of Commerce and a business leader, it is important that you recognize your role in this community. Your purpose is to lead people and manage resources to create value that no single individual can create alone. Furthermore, based on the historic nature of this Chamber of Commerce, your decisions affect the well-being of individuals inside and outside the chamber today and tomorrow. So, as an officer and director of the chamber, will you manage the chamber with loyalty and care and will not advance your personal interests at the expense of the chamber or society? Say, I do. I will.
I will.
Okay. Will you understand and uphold the laws and contracts governing your conduct and that of the chamber? Will you strive to create sustainable and inclusive economic and social prosperity for you and your fellow members? Thank you. In exercising your professional duties according to these principles, you recognize that your behavior must set an example of integrity, eliciting trust and esteem from those you serve. So if you agree to all of this, please again say, I will. Okay, by the power invested in me by your governing body, I now install you as officers and directors of the Hawaii Island Chamber of Commerce for the coming year, 2021, 2022. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you very much for your service.
Thank you so much, Newton. I just want to take a moment right here, this opportunity to officially pass the Hawaii Island Chamber of Commerce scepter to you, David. As Spider-Man said, you know, with this scepter comes great power, and with great power comes great kuleana. So, sir, here you go. We're here for you. You'll do great. Thank you.
This has got to be one of the weirder props. Let's be real. Let's be real. This is weird. And I'm told by Miles that Toby actually was like driving around with this for like a while, a couple of years or something. This is in his car. It's like a Taniguchi wand or something, some magic Taniguchi stuff. I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and congratulations, boss. You know, I do need to apologize. When I announced the past chamber presidents, I didn't scroll back enough to see that Jim Wilson, chamber president in 1978. I miss Jim. Jim, I apologize, but please, a big hand for Jim. I graduated in 77, so 78 was just a blur. Okay, the night is still a little young. We have one more wine to do with a red wine from, I believe, California with Ryan. Ryan, you ready?
Yes. Well, what's wrong with my screen? Oh, there. So again, congratulations to David again, and thank you for what the Tribune Herald does for the community. Great resource, and you know, and what you've done is, and how you persevered through, especially this past year. But onto wine. So the last wine is from an iconic winery. Some of you may know this winery, Stag's Leap Wine Cellars. It is it is one of the wineries that put California wine on the map. If some of you, I'm not naming names, may have remembered back in the 60s and 70s who were drinking wine. French wine was everything. California wine wasn't even on the map. But a handful of California producers went to an event called the Tasting of Paris. And Stag's Leap was one of those wineries. And they did a blind tasting with all French judges. And their Cabernet Sauvignon beat some of the top French Bordeaux's at that tasting. And actually, a California Chardonnay beat the French Burgundies that year as well. So they made a movie about it. It's somewhat dramatized, but called Bottle Shock. But the tasting of Paris was iconic, and it brought California wines to world, especially to American, before even Americans going to a fine dining restaurant would order French wine. But then all of a sudden, people wanted wine from Napa Valley. So this wine is not one of those wines, unfortunately. Obviously, in the past 40 years, the wines have become quite expensive. But this is from that winery. So this is something that is more in the affordable range, but still delicious because the pedigree is there. They call it Hands of Time. There is a display at the winery if you ever are lucky enough to go there. The handprints of everyone who's had a hand in making Stag's Leap Wine Cellar is what it is. There's a display along one of the tree-lined walks that goes along there. From winemakers to viniculturists to, people in the cellars, things like that. There's a deep history to Stag Leap's Wine Cellars. That's why they call it Hands of Time. This is a red Bordeaux blend, majority being Cabernet Sauvignon with a little bit of Merlot. It varies depending year to year, but approximately about 70% Cabernet, 30% Merlot. So what I love about this is that it's so succulent. It's rich and elegant without being overpowering. And sometimes wine from California or New World wines can be over the top. It can be like too pushy, like too much fruit forwardness. This has elegance. It's very supple. It's very food friendly as well. You could have this with your prime rib, but it's just easy enough to drink alone as well. This is my second glass, so excuse me if I'm feeling really good about it. But you get a little bit of oak on the nose, but that richness from a nice California wine, California Cabernet, some currant, some blackberry. It's just, I don't know. I mean, yeah, 3 wines in. I have 3 bottles to myself, so pardon me if I'm a little exuberant and at a loss for words. But any questions, comments about Stag's Leap, about the wine, about the past wines that we've had? I had this one with the again with the pastrami. It was lovely. There were some blueberries in the box. That actually was a really nice pairing as well. It brought
Hi,
up the fruit of
Ryan.
both things.
Can I
Hi.
ask, what is this bottle?
Hey, my whiskey buddy. What's up,
Yeah.
man?
Hi.
Good.
Hi, Ryan. What is this bottle retail? I'm just curious.
Retail, depending, I worked hard to get a good rate on this for the chamber. And I'll be honest, some of you may have the 2014, some may have the 2016, but it's a very similar flavor profile. If anything, I'm drinking the 14. It has very soft tannins. This will
I have
probably
the
retail
16.
between $35 and $40.
I really
If you-
like this one.
Their flagship, not their flagship, but their normal Cabernet, the Artemis, I think you're looking at more like $60 for their Artemis Cabernet. If you saw it in a retail, it might be more now. With the fires going on and everything, I've been hearing from Napa producers that things are tough with the 18s and 19 vintages. They're going to be difficult. The fires are really ravaging Napa Valley up there, and they don't know what's going on. I just had a friend who's at Joseph Phelps, and they say like there might not be a vintage, or they're going to be short. There's not a 2020. There's not a 2020 because of last year's fires. So if you see something you like out there at a good price, grab it. Because things from California, from Napa Valley, especially some good stuff, prices are going to go up. And unfortunately, but there will be deals as well out there. I mean, because of COVID, we were able to, wineries, the better wineries, they like to sell to hotels and restaurants, and obviously those were all closed. So their next avenue were retail, and they wanted to support that with better pricing. So that's kind of going away now because everything is opening up, and we apologize as retailers because the opening has been so fast that everybody is fighting for the same resources, especially beverages. I mean, I'm sure Toby will tell you food as well, foodstuffs, but everything, like cars, as David mentioned, but the hotels, the bars, the restaurants, the retail establishments are all looking for the same thing. And we're in Hawaii, and everything comes over on the boat. But we do have a lot of wine. It's just there's a lot of product, but everybody has to be flexible. I mean, you might not have your favorite thing, but there's something out there. We're not dry.
Thanks,
The
Ryan. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ryan. I've had the Chianti as well. And Vern thanks you for the Chardonnay, the CH. So he's enjoying it as well as I am.
I'm glad. Yeah.
As well as my red wine. But and the super cheese platter, everything was great. Miles, you guys did a good job. But thanks you all, and congratulations to all the officers. Thank you, Toby, and the past officers as well. Good luck to the incoming group. Look forward to seeing you all. Great event.
We'll enjoy working with you this coming year too. Any questions for Ryan? Okay, if not, we're going to be offering a toast in a minute or two. So, but I know you guys are seasoned partiers, so your glass is probably full right now. But, as we wrap up this evening, I'd like to thank Chef Dean, Audrey Wilson, Ryan, Jace, our special guests, and all of you for making tonight special. I'd like to ask Toby, David, Christy, Newton, Jenny, and Taylor to join me up here as we offer a toast to our current and incoming chamber leadership and all our friends out there, to thank you for your continued support, generosity, and leadership as we jump into another year. But I need your help with this, okay? Everybody out there. When I give you the cue, raise your glasses and say, best year ever. Not ever, ever. With from the stomach. Give it gusto. Okay, practice. 1, 2, 3. Best year ever. You guys got them? You guys sound pretty good. Okay, and you can practice drink if you want. But to all of you, and what will be our best year ever. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Stay safe. And we're ending a little bit early, so let's do an open mic, I guess you call it. We'll leave the videos on. You guys can chat if you want. We'll probably have commentary from this side. But thank you all for making this possible. We appreciate all what you do for us. Thank you.
Bye.
Water.
Whiskey.